My husband made me the family nanny without my consent. Just one day, all his relatives started bringing their children to me, like free kindergarten. And when I finally said no, he decided to teach me how a real wife behaves. He had no idea he would learn it himself. My name's Rachel. I'm 33. And for almost a year, my husband, Derek, managed to convince his entire family that I was their free nanny. Not a helper, not a relative doing a favor, a literal, unpaid employee. One I didn't even know I'd become until the day I was ambushed at his sister's birthday party. That day is burned into my brain. I was inside cleaning up dishes, trying to be polite, while everyone else was outside laughing, drinking, pretending we were all one big happy family. Derek's sister Linda came in holding her toddler, hair a mess, perfume so strong I could taste it. She smiled and said, "So Derek mentioned you're good to watch Lucas next weekend while we're at the conference?" I just blinked at her. "What?" I asked. She looked confused, like I was the one missing something. "Yeah, Derek said you offered." My stomach dropped. He hadn't said a word to me. I called him inside. He came in, wiping his hands like I'd interrupted him mid-conversation, and when I asked what Linda was talking about, he just smiled. "Oh yeah, babe, I told everyone you could help out. You're home anyway, right?" The room went silent, except for Linda's kid, babbling. I remember this hot pressure in my chest, like I'd swallowed fire. "You what?" He said it so casually, like he was doing me a favor. "It's just family, Rachel. They need help, and you're great with kids. You'll be fine." Fine. Like my time meant nothing. Like he owned every hour of my day because I wasn't clocking in somewhere. I pulled him aside into the hallway and hissed, "You don't get to volunteer me for anything without asking." He laughed, actually laughed. Said I was overreacting, said I should be happy to be needed. That's the moment something inside me cracked. Because it wasn't just about babysitting, it was about the way he looked at me when I said no. Like I was an inconvenience. Like my no didn't count. The first drop off came the next weekend. His brother showed up at 8 a.m. with 2 kids and a diaper bag. No warning, no text. Just rang the doorbell, said, "Derek told me you didn't mind," and left. That was the moment I realized this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a setup, a coordinated lie. And I swear to God, that was the day I stopped feeling like a wife and started feeling like property. By the second weekend, I knew I wasn't crazy. Derek had actually turned me into the family nanny. It started to snowball fast.
Hey guys, real quick before we keep going, don't forget to sub and drop a like if you're enjoying the story. Thank you very much. Enjoy watching.
The morning after his brother's drop-off fiasco, I told Derek flat out, "You fix this, now." He just smiled that infuriating, dismissive smile. "Rach, you're overreacting. Family helps family." That line, "family helps family," became his mantra. The next few days, I could feel something shifting in the air. Texts started coming in from numbers I barely recognized. "Hey, Rachel, Derek said you wouldn't mind watching the twins Friday night." Or, "We'll drop Ella off after breakfast. Thanks again." I confronted him every time, and every time he brushed it off. "You're just better with kids than anyone else," he'd say. Like that was a compliment. That Friday, I woke up to chaos on my porch. Literally. 3 different relatives had dropped off kids within an hour, all with the same story. Derek told them it was fine. It wasn't fine. My house was filled with screaming toddlers, crying babies, and spilled juice before 10 a.m. I called Derek straight to voicemail. I left him 7 messages. The last one wasn't calm. "Come home, or I swear to God, you'll regret this." He finally strolled in at 5:30, reeking of beer and barbecue smoke. "You survived," he said, like I just run an errand for him. I told him I was done. He smirked and said, "You'll get used to it." That night, while I was cleaning up toys and half-eaten crackers, one of the kids knocked over a picture frame, our wedding photo. The glass shattered. The smiling version of us inside cracked straight down the middle, right between our faces. I just stared at it. That split, it felt like prophecy. The next morning, I told him, "This stops now." He didn't even look up from his phone. "You're acting like I sold you into slavery, Rachel. Jesus, it's babysitting." I packed a bag. He followed me around the house, voice rising, trying to guilt me into staying. "You're making a scene. You're embarrassing me. What am I supposed to tell my family?" "Tell them the truth," I said. He threw a coffee mug at the floor. It exploded, coffee splattering the cabinets. He didn't apologize, just glared at me with his cold, distant look that made my skin crawl. I left anyway, drove to my mom's with my daughter asleep in the back seat and my heart pounding like I'd just escaped a burning house. When I got there, my mom didn't even ask questions, just opened the door and said, "I was wondering how long it would take." It took 3 days before Derek called. His voice was quiet, almost gentle. "You made your point. I told everyone it's over. Come home." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But 2 days later, my phone buzzed again. "Hey, Rachel, when are you feeling better? Need to drop off the kids Tuesday." That's when I realized he'd never told them the truth. He told them I was crazy. I remember the exact moment I knew Derek hadn't told a single person the truth. I was sitting at my mom's kitchen table, my daughter coloring beside me, when my phone lit up with message after message. His sister Illa, his cousin Rebecca, even his brother Philip. every one of them saying some version of, "Glad you're feeling better. Derek said you just needed time." Time. As if what happened was some emotional tantrum I'd get over once I took a few deep breaths. I felt this cold, nauseating clarity settle over me. Derek hadn't fixed anything. He'd rewritten reality. I started taking screenshots, each text, each timestamp. Proof that he'd lied. I scrolled back to his earlier messages. "You made your point. I told everyone it's over." My hands were shaking. I drove back to our house that evening. He was on the couch watching TV like nothing had happened. I stood in front of the screen and held up my phone. "Explain this." He blinked up at me. "What?" "Explain why your family thinks I'm having some kind of breakdown instead of you telling them the truth." He sighed like I was exhausting him. "I didn't want to make things worse, Rachel. They'd just get mad if they thought you were refusing to help." "So you lied," I said. He stood up, face tight. "I protected you." "By calling me unstable?" I shot back. His expression shifted, sharp, defensive. "You're making me look bad to my family. I'm trying to keep the peace, and you're over here playing victim." That word, victim, hit me like a slap. When I didn't respond, he grabbed his phone and muttered, "You always twist things." Then, like he needed to prove something, he called his sister. Right in front of me. "Ela," he said into the phone, his voice suddenly soft, performative. "Yeah, she's here. No, she's fine. Just tired again." He looked at me when he said it. His eyes were daring me to react. "You know how she gets." I didn't say a word. I just walked to the front door, opened it, and said, "Keep talking, Derek, but when I walk out this time, I'm not coming back." He followed me out onto the porch, voice rising. "You're seriously leaving again? Over this?" The neighbor's porch light flicked on. He didn't even care that people might hear. "You don't get to humiliate me like this," he shouted. "You think you're better than my family?" I got in the car. He slammed his hand against the hood as I pulled out of the driveway, shouting my name. Back at my mom's, I cried for hours, not because I missed him, but because I finally saw the truth. Derek didn't misunderstand me. He didn't even see me. I was just a tool for his image of a family harmony. The next morning, his brother Philip called. He sounded uneasy. "Hey, Derek said you two worked it out. We can still bring the kids Saturday, right?" I took a breath. "No, Philip, you can't. And maybe it's time you all start asking me before you believe what Derek tells you." There was a long silence. Then Philip said quietly, "Rachel, what's really going on?" Philip showing up that Saturday was the moment everything broke open. He arrived mid-morning, knocking lightly before pushing the door open like he always used to. I was standing in the kitchen, coffee in hand, still wearing pajamas. My daughter was watching cartoons. Behind him stood his two kids, smiling like this was normal. "Hey," he said cheerfully. "Derek said the mix-up was sorted out. Will only be a few hours." I froze. "Philip, what mix-up?" He frowned, glancing around. "He said you'd been stressed, but it's fine now. He told us you offered to help again." My hand started shaking. I set my mug down carefully so it wouldn't shatter. "He lied." Again. Philip blinked, looking confused. "Wait, what?" "Derek lied," I said, voice trembling but steady. "I never agreed to watch anyone's kids. Not before, not now, not ever. He made that up to look good to you all." And right on cue, Derek walked in from the living room. He must have heard us talking. He looked caught, eyes darting between me and Philip, but tried to recover with a strained smile. "Hey bro, no need to get tense. Rachel's just still adjusting." I laughed. I couldn't help it. It came out sharp, a little hysterical. "Adjusting? You mean adjusting to you volunteering my life away?" Philip looked between us like he was watching a tennis match. "Wait, Derek, you told me—" "I told you she's fine," Derek snapped. "She's overreacting again. You know how she gets when she's emotional. That's when I lost it." "Stop calling me emotional like it's a diagnosis," I yelled. "You lied to your entire family. Derek, you've been lying for weeks." Philip's jaw dropped. Derek's face went red. "Can you not do this in front of my brother?" he hissed. "Oh, I'm absolutely doing this in front of your brother," I said, "since you've been lying to him too." Philip tried to intervene. "Guys, maybe we should talk." But Derek wasn't listening anymore. He started pacing, running his hands through his hair, muttering, "Unbelievable. You're making a fool out of me." I turned to Philip and said quietly, "Take your kids home." Philip didn't argue. He just nodded, gathered the kids, and walked out the door. The second the door clicked shut, Derek exploded. He grabbed the remote and hurled it at the wall. Plastic shattered. "You just love embarrassing me, don't you?" he shouted. "You made me look crazy in front of my own family." I stood perfectly still. "You did that yourself," he stormed toward me, his voice cracking. "I do everything for this family, and you do everything for your image," I cut in. "Not for me, not for us." That stopped him for half a second. His hands trembled at his sides. Then he said the thing that turned my stomach inside out. "You should be grateful anyone needs you at all." That's when I knew he didn't just misunderstand me. He believed he owned me. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just said, "I'm leaving again, Derek, and this time I'm not coming back until you tell every single one of them the truth. Out loud, in front of me." He laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "What, you want a family meeting now?" "Yes," I said. "Exactly that." And I meant it. Because If Derek wanted to play this like I was the problem, then I was done being quiet about it. I was going to make him say it. To his mother, to his sisters, to every person who believed his version of the story. And when he did, it was going to cost him everything he thought he controlled. I told him I wanted everyone on the line. I said I wanted him to say the words I'd been begging for. That he'd volunteered my time without asking. That he'd lied about what he told his family. And that the childcare arrangement was over. He rolled his eyes and said fine, then fumbled through a half-hearted message thread with his mom and siblings, until somehow, miraculously, they all agreed to join a video call that night. Derek called it damage control. I called it the truth finally having to stand up for itself. We sat at my mom's kitchen table because I wasn't going back to that house until he actually did what he promised. He dialed in from our living room while his parents, Illa, Philip, and his wife Agatha, Seth, and a cousin I barely knew populated tiny boxes on my laptop screen, faces glowing in little windows like trouble on loop. Derek's smile was brittle, the kind that snaps when you press it. He started first, fumbling through the apology he'd rehearsed. I shouldn't have decided things without Rachel. I'm sorry if that made anyone feel taken advantage of. It sounded like a hostage negotiation. Illa's mouth tightened into a line. Philip looked sideways, as if the words needed translation before they landed. I waited. Then I opened my phone and began showing the texts, one by one. Linda asking when I'd be back to normal, a cousin thanking me for being so flexible, Philip's early morning thanks after he dropped his kids. Each message had a timestamp, each one a little fingerprint of the lie Derek had stitched together. I read them out loud. I didn't scream. I didn't sob. I let the quiet between each screenshot do the work. You told them I was tired. You told them I'd calm down, I said, and my voice was small and paper thin. You didn't tell the truth. You made me the punchline for your family's convenience. Philip's face crumpled. I didn't know, he started. Agatha's lips trembled. If someone had told me, I never, she said. Illa rolled her eyes and then snapped. You're dramatizing things. This is ridiculous. Her reaction was theatrical outrage, the kind that sounded rehearsed. Derek tried to pivot. We were trying to protect you. We didn't want to make you uncomfortable. But I had a move he didn't see coming. Earlier that day, when he was still insisting he'd told them, I had quietly copied every message into a single thread in our extended family group chat and added a line at the top. For the record, I never volunteered to provide ongoing childcare. These messages show what Derek told you. I hit send. The family chat exploded. Anger, confusion, guilt. Some people typed defensive caps lock manifestos. Others deleted their messages like they were retracting a bad check. Philip messaged privately to say he was sorry and would arrange to pick up his kids that minute. Agatha sent a heart. Illa posted a long rant about modern entitlement and then left the group. Seth tried to gaslight the thread into a lecture about family obligations. And someone who had loved my baking at family reunions, replied with, You asked Rachel first? No, you believed Derek. Shame on you. That was the sweet part. The unraveling was louder than his excuses. Derek's defenses frayed in real time. He slammed his laptop shut so hard, it rattled the picture frames on the shelf. One of them, our wedding photo, slid, glass spider-webbed, the cracked smile inside finally matching how I felt. He stood, fists white at his sides, and for the first time I saw real panic behind the performative anger. He kept saying, This isn't how this should be, like the rules of his life had been broken. It wasn't perfect revenge. No tires slashed, no vindictive viral posts, just a small surgical exposure. The lies, the receipts, the family, forced to look at the man they'd defended. Some of them apologized that night. Some doubled down and blocked me. Ayla's silence after she left the group felt like a wound. Seth posted another preachy essay about unity and duty, and got ignored. Philip and Agatha offered to make amends. They started to actually ask me what days I was available and then respected my answers. I sat back while the chat pinged, and unrest settled into a new pattern. The truth had not fixed everything. It had opened wounds and rearranged loyalties, but it also stopped the free flow of my labor into other people's lives. For the first time in months, my inbox wasn't a rolling conveyor belt of assumed favors. When the call ended, Derek didn't come over to my mom's house. He stayed behind in a quiet house, with the sound of his own breathing and the knowledge that his image no longer bought him cooperation. I felt strange, vindicated, yes, but also hollow at what it cost us. The wedding photo lay on the floor, fractured. It was ugly and honest, and when I picked it up, I realized that was the point. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating. Missed calls, voicemails, message after message from Derek's family. Illa was first. Of course she was. Her voice on the voicemail was brittle and furious. You humiliated my brother in front of everyone. What kind of wife does that? We trusted you. You made this ugly. Family doesn't air dirty laundry like that. Then came one from Seth, preaching again. This is what happens when people forget family values. You could have just said no quietly, Rachel. You didn't have to destroy his reputation. Destroy his reputation. That's what they were worried about. Not the fact that I'd been used for free labor for months. Not the lies. Just that Derek didn't look like the golden son anymore. When I didn't respond, they got more creative. Ila posted a long status on Facebook, thinly veiled but obvious, about women who think they're too good for family obligations. It was full of that passive-aggressive sweetness that's somehow worse than an outright insult. Within an hour, most of Derek's family had liked it. Mom sat across from me at her kitchen table while I scrolled. "Don't feed it," she said softly. "They're panicking because they can't control you anymore." But I couldn't just let them rewrite this too, so I wrote my own post, short, calm. When someone volunteers your time, your home, and your energy, without asking and then lies about it, it's not family, it's control. I'm done being controlled. I didn't name names, I didn't have to. The comment section exploded. Derek showed up that night, eyes red, jaw tight. He didn't even knock, just walked in, still shaking. "Why would you post that, Rachel?" His voice cracked between anger and pleading. "They're tearing me apart in the group chat. My mom's crying. Ela blocked my number." "Good," I said. "Now you know what it feels like." He slammed his hands on the counter. "You don't get it. You made me the villain." "You are the villain," I said quietly. "You just finally have an audience." He took a shaky breath, pacing, like a trapped animal. "You're enjoying this. You love watching me fall apart." I didn't answer. Then he said something that made my stomach drop. "Fine, you don't want to be part of my family? Don't bother seeing your niece's birthday. Don't bother being part of the next barbecue. You're done." He turned to leave, but I said it before he reached the door. "Derek, if you ever want a chance at getting me back, you'll have to clean up your own mess. Without me. Without lies." He froze. For a second, I saw the smallest flicker of recognition, like he finally realized how far he'd pushed me. Then he left without another word. That night, I got another text. From Philip. "Hey. Just so you know, I talked to Derek. He's not taking this well. But I told him you were right. What he did wasn't okay. I'll back you up." I stared at that message for a long time, because for the first time since this started, someone in that family saw me. The next day, Derek's cousin, Rebecca, messaged me too, but her tone was different. "Rachel, could we maybe talk? Just us?" I didn't realize how bad it got. And that's when the shift began. The family cracks widened. People started picking sides. By the end of the week, Derek was alone in that big, quiet house. And for once, I didn't feel guilty about it. The next week felt eerily quiet after the chaos online. Derek stopped calling for a few days. His silence didn't comfort me. It worried me. Every time my phone buzzed, my stomach tightened, expecting another blow-up. On Thursday, Philip called again. His tone was hesitant but warm. "He's not doing great," he said. "He's angry, but I think he's finally embarrassed too. He's realizing people saw through him." Philip paused. "He said he doesn't know how to fix it." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Maybe he should start with telling the truth, to himself this time. That evening, Derek showed up at my mom's door. No shouting this time, no swagger. He looked smaller somehow, pale, unshaven, eyes ringed dark, like he hadn't slept. My mom opened the door and just looked at him for a long moment before stepping aside. He sat across from me at the kitchen table, the same spot where, weeks earlier, I'd laid out those screenshots like evidence in a trial. He glanced at the chair as if it still held ghosts. "I don't even know how to start," he said. I waited. "I talked to Philip," he continued. "He told me I made you feel like me property." His voice cracked. I didn't think of it that way. I thought I was being helpful. I thought I was making things easier for everyone. But it was easier for everyone except you. I didn't let myself soften too fast. I'd seen him perform remorse before, in smaller doses. "You didn't think, you assumed. And every time I said no, you treated it like a personal attack." He nodded, staring down at his hands. "I don't know why I do that. My dad used to always say, 'Family comes first no matter what.' I think I twisted that into meaning everyone just owed me cooperation." "That's not family," I said quietly. "That's control dressed up as love." He looked up then, and for the first time, I saw real shame there. "I don't want to lose you," he whispered. "But I know I already did." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a folded paper, an email printout from a couple's therapist. Philip gave me her contact. "I made an appointment. For both of us. You don't have to come, but I'll be there." Something in me shifted. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet, but it was the first real move I'd seen from him that didn't center his ego. "I'll come," I said finally, "but you're the one who has to talk. No performance, no minimizing. Just truth." He nodded slowly. "Deal." The first session was awkward and raw. The therapist, a calm woman named Dana, asked us both to describe what had happened from our perspectives. Derek went first. Hearing him say the words out loud, "I volunteered Rachel's time without asking. I lied about fixing it. I dismissed her when she said no," was both painful and vindicating. When it was my turn, my voice shook, but I said everything I'd been holding back, the exhaustion, the humiliation, the way his family treated me like a convenience instead of a person. Dana didn't interrupt either of us. When we finished, she just said, "This isn't about childcare. It's about respect." After the session, Derek didn't try to hug me or make small talk. He just said, "I'll see you next week," and left. That quiet was new, and in its way, hopeful. By the second session, something started to shift. Derek stopped talking at me and started talking to me. He admitted that half the reason he'd lied to his family was because he was terrified of them thinking less of him. He said it made him feel like a good son to say yes to everything, even if it meant throwing me under the bus. It wasn't a clean redemption arc. He cried. I cried. I told him I didn't trust him yet, and he said, "I know, but I'll earn it." And for the first time since this all started, I actually believed he might mean it. Over the next 2 months, Derek and I kept going to therapy every week. At first, I didn't move back home. I stayed at my mom's because I needed to see change before I risked being pulled back into the same old gravity. But Derek kept showing up, on time, every session, with no excuses. Dana, our therapist, didn't let him hide behind, "I'm sorry." She made him unpack everything, every pattern, every little decision he'd made for me, without asking. At first, he looked defensive. Then the shame settled in. One day, Dana asked him to list all the things he'd volunteered me for over the years. As he spoke, hosting holidays, watching his parents' dog, driving his sister to appointments, the endless babysitting, I saw something change in him. He stopped mid-sentence, looked at me, and said quietly, "God, I didn't even see it. I just decided for you." That was the moment I knew something in him had cracked open for real. 3 weeks later, Derek sent the message to his entire family. The message. He showed it to me first. "I owe everyone an apology. I told you Rachel was fine watching your kids when I never actually asked her. That was wrong. I lied to cover my mistake and made her the bad guy when she set a boundary. The childcare arrangement is permanently over, and I take full responsibility for creating it." He hit send, then turned his phone over and let it buzz. Some replies came fast. "Philip, thank you for being honest, man." Agatha sent a heart emoji. His mother wrote, "We understand. I should have asked Rachel myself." Others didn't respond at all. Ayla wrote back 2 days later, noted, "Just remember this when you need help someday." Derek read that one out loud, sighed, and said, "That's her problem now." It wasn't grand revenge, but it was sweet. Watching him finally draw a line with his family felt like the quiet justice I'd been waiting for. When I eventually moved back home, the air in the house felt different. We started rebuilding, slowly, carefully. We made rules. No commitments without both people agreeing. Every major plan discussed together. Family requests went through both of us. He actually kept to it. When Philip and Agatha called asking if I could watch their kids for one Saturday, Derek turned to me and asked, "Yeah, do you want to?" It was such a small question, but it hit me hard. He asked. I agreed because now it was my choice. The afternoon they dropped the kids off, Agatha handed me a bag with snacks, a thank you card, and cash folded inside. I didn't take the money, but it meant something. It was respect, the difference between being used and being valued. Months passed. Derek's relationship with his family never fully recovered. Ela kept her distance, still bitter. Seth posted one last rant about selfish modern wives, and got ignored. Philip and Agatha became closer to us. They invited us for dinner, no hidden expectations attached. Our marriage didn't magically fix itself, but it became honest. We still argued, still had to unlearn old habits. But now, when I said no, Derek heard it. He didn't roll his eyes or guilt trip me. He listened. A year later, we hosted a small barbecue in our backyard. My mom came. Philip and Agatha came with their kids. Even Derek's parents showed up, bringing potato salad like old times. When I caught Derek watching me from across the yard, laughing with Agatha, holding our daughter, I saw something new in his eyes. Not ownership, not obligation, just awareness, gratitude maybe. Later that night, as we cleaned up together, he said softly, "You were right, about everything." I looked at him, the same man who once treated my time like his property, and said, "I know. I just needed you to see it too." The broken wedding photo still sits in a drawer somewhere, glass cracked down the middle. I've never fixed it. I keep it that way, because it reminds me of what it took to make him see me as a partner, not a possession.